Well, good evening. We have a quorum. We'll call a planning board meeting to order. First up for general information, Mr. Dwyer.
That would be Mr. Palmer.
Good evening. I sent an email late today, but I just wanted to give some kind of updates regarding the project that we have at 237 Russell Street, which is the hotel. There have been changes to site plan, slight changes. One being per the fire department request, the opening, the entrance has been widened a little bit. We relocated where the fire hydrant was per the fire department. The sewer department requested us, and I believe there's a new bylaw too, Massachusetts bylaw regarding a grease trap. So we had to add a grease trap to the property too. Other items that we've changed is just a little bit of the just some of the utilities we had to, the water and sewer, we kind of had to change around due to the gas line being close to it. So we kind of tightened that up. Another item that we changed is we went from an R tank to a storm brick system, which holds exactly the same amount, if not more, than the R tank did for the stormwater drainage. Those are the major changes that we have listed. And I just wanted to know if there's any questions, or do I have to formally come in for these changes?
Well, you're formally here. So
Okay.
that addresses that part of it. I don't see any big deal with anything you're doing. It's most of it's underground, and it's all been requested by town departments. So, I mean, if you need a motion, we probably should make a motion to approve them, but I think they're just routine stuff that's, thank you for coming in and letting us know.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I just, there's a lot going on in the town. So sometimes, I just want to be clear, to make sure there's no other questions. And also just to give you folks an update on the project. We are hoping to be done sometime at the end of next year, if everything goes well. Okay. Our biggest concern is Eversource getting a transformer. So that might be a giant holdup for us on our end. So
Tom?
Yeah.
Mr. Quinlan?
Yes, I just wanted to make sure, Keisha, while you're on here, to make sure they know about the propane tank. That,
oh, yeah.
You're going to have it all protected and all, so you don't have to come back.
Yeah. So there's a propane. We did add a propane tank. I believe it was a 1,000-gallon tank or 2,000 gallon tank, which we had to because our capacity is not enough due to the moratorium.
Okay.
And that is above ground.
That is below ground too.
Okay.
And that's been approved by the fire department?
Yeah, I believe we went through, I mean, Tom knows about it. I'll double check with Mike, but I'm pretty confident that Larry's spoken, or, OPG, our GC, and our site super has spoken to Tom and Mike, but I'll double check with him tomorrow morning when I see him.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if the authorities having jurisdiction have approved it, then I assume it's within your setbacks and all those parameters.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept the changes.
Joe, you're muted, Joe Zagrodnik.
Second.
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. You want to put that one in writing, Mr. Dwyer, or should I?
Tell you what, Kishore, why don't you, can you write up the significant changes just in an email?
Will do. Yep.
And I'll check it against my list, and then I'll forward that, because I'm not sure I have the brand of the subsurface drainage. I just put.
Okay, yeah, it's called storm bricks. I don't know if Tom's been seeing them, but from what I've been told, a lot of contractor excavation companies are moving towards that because the ease of installation at this point.
Okay. Well, just write up a list of the changes.
Okay,
And email it to me.
will do.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good Thanksgiving, Kishore.
You too. Take care, everyone.
Anything else?
That's it for admin business. We did have someone who wanted to come in to talk about relocating 2 signs at the Rockies Plaza to accommodate the Route 9 change. One was the TJ Rental sign, and one was the Rockies illuminated billboard sign. And I wrote back and said, gee, TJ Rentals seems to have gone. Do you still want to relocate that sign? And secondly, that's the only compliant sign on the site. The other sign, the Rockies flashing billboard sign, does not comply. It's larger than allowed, and it's been abandoned for more than 2 years. So I'm not sure exactly when Rockies closed, but it's been at least 2 years, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's been probably closest to maybe
It's
4 years.
pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, so call it for 3 years. So that we consider. I told the sign person that we thought the problems were such that we needed to talk to the owner, and so they decided not to come tonight, and they will talk with the owner, and we'll see something at a future point.
Okay. I have two money items. A motion to pay $1,397.92 to PVPC for their contract for the quarter.
1397.
0.92.
I'll make a motion to pay PVC.
I would second it.
Motion second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. And also our payroll for the period ending December 31st, 2023, $575. Motion to pay.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second. A motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay.
I did send around a reminder notice from the Citizen Planner Training Consortium. They have a program a week from Saturday at in the morning at Greenfield Community College with a couple of different they have 4 programs at 2 time slots, 4 programs. So if anyone is interested in that, it is only in person. And we do have a training budget. So if anyone is interested in any of those, probably the best thing to do is sign up, pay with your own credit card, and then get reimbursed. Because it is a tight time frame.
And that was when and where, Bill?
A week from Saturday in Greenfield. Yeah, check your email. It's
Okay.
December 2nd.
Okay.
So I think I can just in case anyone hasn't checked, let me see.
I got it, Bill. So.
Oh, you did. Okay, I was just going to share it, but that's fine. Some of them look a little basic, or there are areas we're not working on right now. So I don't think I would be planning on going. I did share it with Kyla, in case she wants to learn a little more about what we do. And I don't know if she will attend either. I believe she may join us tonight. I'm not sure for the public hearing. I did send around Kyla's resume about just before the last meeting, but the last meeting turned into such a long one that I didn't really have time to say welcome to her. But you all got her resume and her cover letter, so you know a little bit about it, and she'll be.
We will welcome another person from the Little Three.
Yes.
Wesleyan.
Yep. Don't tell anybody. It's a power grab.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything? We got a minute or two before the 6:45. Nothing?
Anybody have any fun plans for Thanksgiving?
No, everybody's coming over to my house. I got about 19 people coming over.
Oh, my God.
Good thing you built the addition.
Well, I think 7 or 8 of those is kids under 10, 11, 10 years old and less. So, but still, good sized crowd. While I'm working on this battery storage, I did come across an interesting article that Joe gave me. There was a fire, right, actually an explosion, maybe a better way to say it, in 2019 in Arizona. There was a battery pack. One of this, they're in a storage trailer. It looked like a little cubicle storage trailer. The pack evidently caught on fire. They had some kind of a self-contained automatic fire suppression system that worked to at least subdue it. And it was smoking for better part of a day. The fire department hazmat team came, took all kinds of readings. The smoke basically stopped. They were taking readings for hazardous material, various hazmat stuff. And all the readings that they finally took said that the dangerous chemicals were under the threshold limit. The smoking had stopped. This is the actual study that was done after the incident. So the 4 firemen or 4 hazmat team went to the trailer, opened up the door, and there was an explosion. All 4 firefighters got critically burned and injured. 2 of them to the point that they almost died and are still in a hospital. They were still in a hospital almost a year later, recovering from their burns. So these batteries are dangerous, to say the least. So I don't know, and it said there was a specific line in there that the installation of this battery system complied with all regulations at the time of installation. So nobody was shortcutting anything, but the incident still happened. So I'm reconsidering what I'm putting into this thing, and I'm going to try to talk to some more experts to see both fire and electrical and see what there is, because I was kind of ready to put it out for review from everybody. But after reading this article, I'm like, I don't think we want to do this just quite yet. We want to put a little more thought into it because, well, everybody admits there's a lot of unknowns. It's relatively new technology.
That was 2019, Jim?
Pardon?
That was 2019?
2019, I think it was Somerset was a doc.
April 19th, 2019, in Surprise, Arizona.
If you could just type in Surprise, Arizona, that's all I did, Mark. And the actual fire incident after report, I was reading, it came out. So it's real easy to find on the internet. And the article was quite interesting.
Do you know if the NFPA or any other, like OSHA, any of those have come out with revised, after
That's
that?
what I don't, that's what I don't know. That's what we're gonna find out.
No.
Okay,
Also, too, Mark, there were 28, they call them BESS fires. It's an acronym for battery something storage systems, but there were 28 fires in South Korea, and finally South Korean government has changed storage batteries policies, and they give them zero support now.
Before,
So you're right, it needs more study, and
yeah.
by way of,
You know, it's not that I'm against it. We just need to be very careful of what we say. That's all. We want to
Yeah.
make sure it complies. And if we got to put something extra in there, well, we'll do it. Okay.
so,
It is-
Jim, before you jump into that, on a completely different note, I have looked at our box at Town Hall for the envelopes for the Chase Bank, and I have not been able to find them.
Okay.
So maybe I'm missing them. They might be
I
stuck.
looked in there too. I thought you had taken them because I couldn't find them in there myself.
Okay.
Let me give one more look here to see if I have them. If not, we'll have to get another set from them.
Okay.
Okay. It's after 6:45, we'll open the continued hearing for in the Green Gardens. And Mr. Viano is here, and we'll let him speak.
All righty, great. Thank you very much. Yeah, sorry the meeting went a little long last time, but though it was good to hear all of my my neighbors' concerns and everything like that, and their opinions. So what I wanted to do was take a look at some pictures that I have. First, just essentially starting to address the concerns. The first thing, if I'm able to share my screen.
Hang on a sec.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. Everybody can see that?
Yep.
So this is looking towards my neighbor's property to the, if you're looking at 243 Russell Street, from Russell Street to the right. So the right-hand side, so that would be 241 Russell Street. And that neighbor voiced concerns about washout from my property going into her property. What was interesting that I found as I started to look into things is that this is actually a 2-foot retaining wall that change dissipates the grade between her property and my property. And then that's where her catch basin is. So I didn't see any signs of any washout or any leaching or anything like that. Because it is higher. So I didn't see anything coming that way towards her property. Another thing that with this retaining walls, it does seem to be failing as it's starting to fall over. And this is directly on the property line. So I don't know with the planning board, if there's any specs or any rules on retaining walls. And if I was to then in turn in the future, I'm sure that there will be a new fence getting put in by either myself or the landlord. So if this side was to be replaced, then that's something that we would then need to address. Is there any commentary on this part?
Regarding the retaining wall, I don't know if it's on the property line. I don't know who owns it and who's responsible for the upkeep, but that would pretty much be a issue between the two landowners.
Mhm.
And the planning board would more or less kind of stay out of it unless we really have to put our 2 cents in. But I mean, I don't know how else to say that, but that's pretty much a civil matter between two property owners.
Definitely. Okay, great. Perfect. Then the next thing that I want to pull up here. So this is a picture that I took this evening right after I finished cleaning everything up here. So it's just a drone shot of our property here. Everything.
I'm still seeing the retaining wall.
Close the retaining wall and open the other one, Steve.
You might need to stop sharing and reshare.
Let me try that. Where am I? Stop sharing. Reshare. There we go. Perfect. So this is, there we go. Perfect. All right. So this is a picture of the property. This is this evening. I probably took this about 45 minutes, an hour ago. This is the property from the top view. We've removed all the soil like we were asked by the planning board. This is pretty much all my equipment parked in the yard here. So there's definitely just to show that there's definitely still room in there. We are able to maneuver in and out of the yard. This is looking over Russell Street, essentially, or towards from the front of the property.
Nice drone picture.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's the DJI Phantom. They're awesome drones. Here's another picture. Top-down view. A couple of our trailers are parked over here on the bottom hand corner. And there's my 3 trucks right there. This one we're just working on building a dump bed on it right now. The excavator skid steer. And there's one more view of the property as well from up top. And then this area in the top right corner was where the loam was, and that's all since been removed.
Totally here. Hello.
Now let's see here. Some other pictures as well that was taken a little bit earlier in the day. Let's see, I'll stop share and reshare. So these are some pictures from the ground with all of our lights on, everything there. And that's the 3 pictures right there. The other concern that one of my neighbors had, Paul to the left of me, so that's 241 Russell Street there. Let's see here. So I showed Tom when he was out here this afternoon. We took a look at the property here. I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the board. Let's see here. That when my neighbor took down his sign, he was dumping all the retaining wall materials and all the loam into the wetlands over here. So I just wanted to make sure that was brought up. Now, we also did have the opportunity to talk to a design firm that's located out of Northampton. That was Berkshire Design Group, about looking into doing all of the drainage and bin blocks and what that might entail for us. Right now, as the company stands, we don't own the property here. We're just renting. So for that, it doesn't make financial sense for us to implement the bin blocks. And I talked to Jim earlier this afternoon that we're thinking about veering away from that. So that would definitely be something that in the future, if we did own the property, I think that it would definitely be something that we'd be interested in and something that we would want to do. But though, in doing that type of site work or that scale of site work on a rented piece of property isn't exactly in our wheelhouse right now. So we would still be looking for permission for us from the planning board to be able to continue parking our equipment here. We don't plan on bringing in any more mass amounts of material or anything like that. Everything will really be able to stay on site, if anything. And that's more or less what we're up to.
Okay. Comments from the board?
It
Well, I think he's
looks-
made a good faith effort in cleaning the place up. That's
Looks
important.
Yeah. You did what you said you were going to do.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
thank you guys.
we really can't ask for more than that. You've done a good job. You said in 2 weeks you got it cleaned up, and you certainly did. Thank you.
Now, what are the guarantees that it's going to stay cleaned up?
Well,
It definitely did get a little bit out of hand, just with this year just being crazy. It is only our second year in business, so I definitely did have a lot on my plate. But though I definitely was planning on cleaning up, it was something that was good to more or less put a little fire under my tail to get it done sooner rather than later. But though I like a clean yard. Our company's growing. We're getting more equipment and things like that. So we really don't have room to be able to store materials really anymore here. And we think that that's definitely in everybody's best interest.
Well, you're a hard worker, and Joe Z likes hard workers.
You're Joe, you're silent. You're muted, Joe. There you go. You're muted again. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, a question for the rest of the board. I know there was some concern by the neighbors that the water was draining onto their property, and by leveling it off, does he? Certainly he probably improves the site, but what if the neighbors complain a few months from now that there's still drainage going onto their property?
He is hiring Joe. He's
Yep.
hiring Berkshire Design to do a study of the property for that.
But it sounds like it's going to be too expensive and that he's not going to do it.
No, he said it's
That's
too
the bin blocks.
expensive to put the blocks there. Am I correct?
Yeah, so he's not gonna store materials. He's not gonna put those big concrete blocks in.
Right, but he's still going to do the study with Berkshire Design, correct?
Right.
Steve?
I wasn't planning on still continuing the study. I was, because it would be back to present conditions, the site. And if there wasn't, I don't know if there was issues with the drainage on the site beforehand. But though, if there is issues, then we can definitely work to either do something on my end as well. I'd definitely be happy to
Okay.
on the board's opinion of what they think should
Okay,
be done.
well, I mean,
What proof do we have that there, in fact, is drainage onto other people's property? Is it just,
say that again, Mike?
what proof
What
do we
evidence?
have that there is in fact drainage on neighbors' properties?
Mike, just I'd kind of like to intervene a little bit. Probably there's not adequate proof. When there's a situation like that, what we have done in the past is that we would have a peer review of the drainage system that Berkshire Design is going to design. But other than that, we need some scientific proof as
All right,
opposed to
okay.
you saying that the neighbors are not going to be correct and he's not going to be correct. So we have to rely on kind of a peer review engineer to adjudicate this.
Well, we got two of the neighbors here right now. Prior to in the Green Garden moving in, was there water flowing from that property onto abutting properties?
Yes,
There was.
that's correct.
Okay.
Under hasty
I have
fence.
a catch basin that's literally 10 feet off the edge of his fence. And the way the slopes are graded, the water has been flowing off of his property onto mine into the catch basin and into the wetland. There's a catch basin that in a large pipe, 12-inch pipe that goes underneath the driveway and drains into the side of the driveway and into the wetlands on my property. And it's been that way for a long time. Wasn't an issue when the place was just like an office building. It was just a lawn. Originally, when I put in my project, we graded onto their property with their permission and pulled out trees and that sort of thing and made it one nice big lawn. And so whatever drained off of it was never an issue because it was just lawn going into my catch basin. Then Hasty Fence moved in and things have changed quite a bit with the equipment that's in there. He has graded also alongside the fence and dug it down, so even more water drains towards my property into that catch basin and then into the wetlands. So I'm concerned about that.
Okay. So it's not something Mr. Viano created. Evidently, it was done before him.
No, it's the Hasty Fence. There wasn't really a very good review done on that, and I was never notified. I don't think Lisa was that was happening. It just happened, and they were in there for 10 years, and that operation really shouldn't have been in there. It's a very, very industrial operation. This is a commercial business area, and it doesn't really warrant that kind of industrial activity.
Just a quick 2 cents on that. There was no review done that I remember on Hasty Fence. The building inspector at the time just allowed them to go in there, if you would.
He shouldn't have been there. We suffered for 10 years with Hasty Fence with all their noise and trucks and, you know, and it wasn't good. It hasn't been good. You know, it's brought down the neighborhood. The neighborhood it's a pretty quiet neighborhood. My office building is very quiet. It's therapists, doctors, lawyers. It's a quiet building. Lisa's property next to it is it's a therapy building. It's quiet. Laxman's Hotel is not going to be very, very loud. People are going to go there to sleep. You know, overall, the neighborhood is a quiet neighborhood. We're concerned that all the noise that's created from Steve's operation, and, you know, God bless him for being industrious and wanting to, you know, do his thing. But I'm a little concerned with all the equipment and activity that goes on there, that it's not really appropriate for this neighborhood. No offense, Steve. It's just, you know, you start early and sometimes you work late, and you know, there's an awful lot of noise from the equipment, payloaders, excavators, screeners coming in and out, people driving on my lawn, dumpsters on the front lawn. It's just, it's a lot, you know. We've been very tolerant, but, you know, once the construction stops on Route 9 and once Laxman's done with his hotel, we'd like it to go back to the quiet neighborhood that it has been. I've been there for 30 years and it's been a pretty quiet neighborhood until recently. And I'd just like to kind of see it stay that way. But that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Any other comments?
Well, I just
Yep.
ask, I would ask Steve, should your, am I wrong in thinking that your yard would now basically be a parking lot? That you're not processing gravel or screening or doing the things that you did that were loud and noisy? I mean, it should be the noise of your equipment starting up and turning off and getting on a trailer, but otherwise there shouldn't be industrial noise, right?
Yep. Definitely. Yeah. I don't plan on really screening or anything like that anymore. Really what it is most of our equipment is on site 99% of the time. I mean, this is the most equipment that's been in the yard within the last probably 8 months. I've never had all of my equipment here all at the same time. My payloaders are only here was just to do loadout this weekend. We were able to move probably about 200 yards of material in 2 days. So I thought that was fairly impressive to be able to move that amount of material, but that we're only able to do that by bringing in that equipment. When we do start, and we start between 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, we load everything up and we're out of here because we really don't have much sense in digging or doing anything here on the property. Usually, since most of our stuff is on site, really we come in, we hop in the trucks and go.
But what time do you normally return in the afternoon or evening?
Depends on the time of the year. Usually I try to work from sun up to sundown, out on site. And then, when I return in the evening, my guys get back around 2 o'clock. And usually at the end of the day, they just park the trucks. We do all of our load up in the morning. So the most time that we're really here in the mornings from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. In the wintertime, I do have to warm up the trucks just because we have diesel equipment. So it's like 6:45. I'll usually start it. So it gives it a 15-minute head start when my guys get in. I don't have a ton of guys. I only have 2 employees. So there's not a ton of commotion or anything like that over here either.
Who's responsible for replacing the fence between Lisa's place and your place?
Those 5 panels is my responsibility, and I have those ordered.
The fence.
The 5 panels that aren't there right now, yeah. The one that's between my place and Lisa's place, if it was to be replaced in the future, or between my property and Paul's property, that would be the landlords would be in charge of that, since it's a facilities or a piece of the facilities in our lease.
Lisa.
So Steve showed my drainage detention basin, but prior to just a few days ago, when he removed all that dirt, there was a 30-foot high pile of dirt and compost material in that corner that could easily come down and go over that area. So with that removed, it's much better conditions there. But there was really, he wasn't moving it on his own, so I appreciate the board having him clean that up. The other thing is my retention wall is perfectly fine. There's one cap that fell behind that the snow plow hit that is too heavy for me to grab, but there's actually nothing wrong with my retention wall. It's perfectly fine and lined up. So I'm not sure where Steve's getting that information, but there is one cap over the edge. And I do believe that his fence is actually on my property line, and I don't think they even got a permit to put the fence up in the first place when it was Hadley fence, go figure. You know, I mean, I feel like, you know, I've been a good neighbor and, you know, it's been noisy and stuff, but it was just kind of the dirt grinding from like 10 to 4 o'clock all day long, shaking it out was really loud. It was kind of shaking the building a little bit. Notwithstanding, we have construction going on the other side, you know, I know that, but, you know, it's not ideal with all the noise over there, but the noise aside, I was really concerned about just the dirt piling up against my property, changing the elevations, water running off it. When it rains, you know, the water's coming off the dirt and going somewhere. So, you know, I'm happy that that is removed. But I guess my question is like, what's the plan? Like, is it just going to be storage for his vehicles? Is he going to be, you know, bringing other materials on site? I mean, I have nothing against Steve and I'm not opposed to him being there, but I just, you know, I think just keeping things in check of what's actually going to happen and, you know, what are the sounds, like what's kind of going against the fence, like towards our property. I think we should, you know that or agree to that. If he's changing elevations and, you know, putting large piles of stuff against the property line. Thank you.
Steve, could you reply to that?
Yep. Yeah. So future outlooks for the property here is definitely equipment storage. So equipment storage for things that are just in between jobs, more or less. If we have to drop off a piece of equipment before we're able to bring it to the next job site. The only materials that would be coming in here, most likely, are palletized material. So that would be anything like pavers. Sometimes you run into a situation where you have job sites with limited access. So what we have to do is have, if we have, say, 30 pallets of pavers or retaining wall block, we have to get it delivered here, and then we can bring it down to the job site in 6 or 10 pallet increments. But though, for the most part, that's really what the plan is for the lot, is to keep it more or less on the quiet side over here.
So you're not talking of storing any more construction materials per se, like dirt and stone there anymore, right?
Dirt and stone, no. Unless the only time if we were to store dirt or stone, then that we would be putting the bin blocks in. But though that would be a future issue.
Right. Okay. Sounds like you may need to get somebody there to at least review the drainage, Steve, not necessarily design anything, but at least, you know, we're not going to, I mean, you've done what you said, so we're not going to, the cease and desist order is not going to happen, put it that way. So that's good. You can keep working. You're doing what you said. But we can't ask more than that. But I would request that you at least get a study done from whoever you're going to hire, be it Berkshire Design or any other engineering firm, and see what they have to say about grades and stuff like that. Okay.
Yep.
Could I add something?
Sure.
Last week at the Conservation Commission, they informed him that he really needed to do have a qualified person do a wetland study, as his property is in the 100-foot buffer. And so I just wondered how you're coming along with that, Steve. Have you notified anybody to do the wetland study as requested by the Hadley Conservation Commission, the meeting last week?
Yep, it was only requested by them if we were to go ahead with doing the bin blocks. So that's why we didn't go ahead.
No, this is the whole site. This is in reference to everything that's going on here. The site review, they requested that a wetland study be done because you're grading within the 100-foot buffer. And weren't passing the buck on it. They were saying it needed to be done.
I don't recall that, but though I will talk to Kayla over there at the Wetlands Commission and find out what she has to say.
You are clearly in the 100-foot buffer. And so that does need to be addressed. And that was requested by the Hadley Conservation Commission last week.
Is that pile of soil that you have over there also within the buffer? And all those retaining wall blocks that you put into the wetlands over there?
Gentlemen. Steve, just check with Kyla from the Conservation Commission if that was a request to do the study of regarding what you understood or what Mr. Paul understood. Okay.
Not a problem.
Yes, Mark.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. I would direct it to you, but also to our resident attorney, Mr. Dwyer. Am I right in hearing that we are telling this tenant who has just restored his site back allegedly to what it was when he took over his lease, that he has to pay for a study and grading and all that? I mean, is this something that's triggered if he's returned it to how it looked?
But he hasn't.
And if so, I'm just thinking that would be on his landlord, right? Because if allegedly he's returned it back to the way Hasty left it, are we putting ourselves in jeopardy by requiring him to make good on what Hasty did?
I would say no, that's not an issue. He's the current, he is the current tenant. He wants to do certain things on the site. We want some assurance that it is, we need to know more about the site, where the drainage patterns were. Whatever Hasty did to the site may have altered it from what is truly its original condition. And whether Steve pays for it or the landlord pays for it is really a matter of negotiation between the two. I don't know what their lease says. But there's probably something about compliance with local law implied, if not explicit. So that's a matter for them to work out. But I think we do want to have a site professional take a look at the way it's laid out and whether there are some red flags that there may be some things that could be easily fixed. We just don't know. So I think it's fair to ask Steve to demonstrate that it is, I don't have any idea how it was when Hasty Fence left. So I can't say that the work that's been done over the last 2 weeks restored it to its prior condition. I just don't know. So
he could have improved it too, I guess. We don't know.
Might have.
That's possible too. Yeah.
Did Mr. Zrodnik make any complaints prior to Mr. Viano having this business there? Because Hasty Fence, as far as I can tell, according to what you're saying, caused the problem.
Well, when Steve moved in, he has been digging along the edge of the fence to level it out, to put in a dry van box in the back and for his fences. So he dug down alongside the fence along my property, lowered the grade to level it, to put in the rack and the box. So Steve has done that. That has not been restored. The box is still there, which doesn't comply with town regulations for structures. Okay. The rack that's still there, that hits 30 feet high, that when we drive by, we look at augers and bucket loads and stones and stuff towering over the fence. Okay. He had to level that before he could put in that large rack. Now he's dropped the elevation down on that side of the fence, and more water is apt to collect there and go into my drainage basin as a result of him leveling the ground to put in the box and the rack. So it's worse now than it was. If you go out and look at it, you can see that.
So his perimeter, at least within the fence, was higher and it's
It
been
was.
flattened. Got it. Got it.
Okay, it has not been restored on
Gotcha.
the east side and the north side of the fence. It has not been restored to what Hasty has. He's got a bunch of equipment and boxes and racks there, and it's lower. So it's actually worse.
Okay.
Well,
That's helpful.
Yep. So I do have a response to that. So the rack, that's only a 12-foot tall rack. So it's tall, it's shorter than the building that's there. So it is below height. Now that's set onto piling, so we didn't change any of the grade underneath it. All we did was we put maybe about 1 inch of 3/8 stone just over the top of it there, just so we're able to then put a pallet underneath it without having to collect mud or anything underneath it. Lowering the grade, or not lowering the grade, but though a more level grade would slow down water moving across the site, is what I would argue. I did restore grade to the bottom of the fence, and I didn't move the fence.
On Lisa's side, yes, not on my side of the fence. It has not been restored to the grade it was.
Okay.
Has not.
That's what we'll get a site professional to look at it and give 2 cents on it.
I did send the planning board a list of all the concerns that Lisa and I had. I would hope that the board would take a look at them and consider them. They're all, basically pertain to zoning bylaws in Hadley. And we'd like to see the board apply them to this site if it's possible, within reason. We're not we don't want to be unreasonable. We're just trying to keep the neighborhood in good shape and get the harmony back in the neighborhood.
Well,
So,
what are the conditions that you need met for you to be happy with Mr. Viano's site?
Did you get a copy of?
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
just
but
said
that came in
reasonable.
this
What
afternoon.
reasonable?
What's that?
That came in this afternoon, and we asked that material be in the Friday before a Tuesday meeting, so we
I'm
have time
sorry.
to review it. So
I'm sorry.
I have not even scanned
Well,
it
you
yet.
haven't had a chance to look at it.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of things, a lot of issues with it. There should really be a buffer zone, a 15-foot wide buffer zone that is required, with vegetation, stormwater runoff needs to be addressed. There is also a section in there about vibration. No vibration shall be transmitted outside the property line where it originates. The operation is more of an industrial nature that he's doing in construction. This is a commercial business district. It's not an industrial district. And, it just, his equipment keeps getting bigger and louder, and he does work there some days, all days, assembling fences. I hear, hammers and saws going off all day out there. They're working on platforms and that sort of thing. They fabricate fences. So I hear the noise all day. I mean, I wish it wasn't there all day. And some days it is quiet, but we hear him working, and he does some assembly work there, and it does get noisy. And he does work sometimes late in the night. Hey, he's a hardworking guy, and I understand it. But that site, and they're constantly backing over onto my lawn. Just today, I got tire tracks across my lawn. His yard is not big enough, and he parks trailers and dumpsters right out front. It's not a good message when you drive through Hadley and there's dumpsters, great big dumpsters and dump trucks on the front lawns. That shouldn't be. So it's just been a series of issues, just ongoing little stuff. And it's just like, I'm concerned that the site just isn't big enough. If you add the buffer zones, like he's supposed to be there with vegetation, and you put in a proper drainage system so it doesn't go onto my property or Lisa's property, and you have a wetland study done, I think, sure, I hope it can work for him, but I think more work needs to be done. And I don't want to see my property damaged, and I don't want to see Lisa's property damaged. And I want to make sure that the rest of the neighborhood, feels comfortable with it too. I'm concerned Laxman's spending a lot of money on this nice hotel next door. Hotels are quiet, and they don't want to hear equipment banging away at 6 in the morning till 8 or 10 o'clock at night, sometimes 7 days a week. So I'm just concerned, that's all. If you can, go down that punch list that I gave and those can be addressed, and that's fine. That's all I'm asking for. These are all zoning bylaws, okay, that I printed out and I'd like to see addressed. If he can go down that and meet all that criteria set by the town and the town zoning bylaws, then fine. But I want to see that effort made. And if the Conservation Commission says he needs to do a study, he needs to do a study. And if the town says that he probably needs to have a licensed drainage engineer come in and design something so it doesn't go onto our property. And so if he has a spill, I'm concerned about if one of his trucks comes in and spills calcium chloride because he does Sam's driveway or diesel fuel comes down. I don't want it on my property. And he should have the necessary safeguards so the rest of the neighbors don't have to worry about that equipment leaking fluids into our properties. I've been there for 30 years. I spent a lot of time and money keeping up my property, and I don't want to see it denigrated by an operation that's in the middle of us that's bringing it down. That's all. So I just asked the board to clearly look over what I've sent, and if he can address all those issues, fine, that's great. But that's what I'm looking for. This is too.
I will send Steve a copy of what you sent to the planning board. It's a public record, public document.
Thank you.
So you will have a chance to see it. I suggest that honestly, I haven't read it either. It came in around 3:00, I think. I suggest that we continue this, probably given the meeting schedule of the Conservation Commission, since they only meet once a month, to get clarity from Conservation and to give you a chance to, I think I do agree that we do need something from Berkshire Design. We need someone to take a look at it. And if they can tell us that based on their professional opinion that they're really, what you have there is substantially the same as what's always been there, that's one answer, and not the one that Paul wants to hear, but it is an answer. On the other hand, they may have some simple suggestions short of having you dig up your backyard and put in subsurface drainage. We don't know until you have someone take a look at it. And then we also need some clarity on the Conservation Commission. We can approve projects subject to Conservation Commission approval, but at the same time, we like to straighten these things out beforehand. So I would suggest we could look at continuing this for a month to the third Tuesday of December.
I would suggest, because of what you call it, I believe Kim's going to be in on the 5th. Let's give them time. Let's do January 2nd.
Okay.
Okay. That gives them the whole month of January. Because I mean,
yeah,
December 19th, really, in all honesty, is only 3 weeks away with Thanksgiving and everything else coming in. Give them a month to try to straighten it out. And so we'll put you on January 2nd. All right.
January 6th or the 2nd, sorry.
It's January
2nd.
2nd.
That's our first Tuesday in January.
Yes.
At 6:45?
Yes.
Perfect.
On 2/24.
I know it. Where did 23 go to?
It's leap year.
Ah, we get an extra day.
So we have a motion.
The motion second to go to January 2nd. Do you have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Very good. See you on January 2nd.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, thank you. I have nothing else.
I have nothing else.
Anybody else have anything? No, very good. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And
Yeah, 2
Tommy,
weeks.
do you have
Motion.
anything?
motion to adjourn.
So move.
Have a count. Thank you.
See you later.
What make a motion to adjourn?